Welcome back to Make Movement Matter and another mini with me. I've been thinking a lot recently about future-proofing our bodies and how it's such an important why. But I think we all need to find what our own whys are, the things that we really want to be able to keep doing and do into later stages in life that are going to bring that quality of life that is so personal to us. And it was definitely triggered by my son going off traveling to Asia last week in his year between school and uni that he has been working so hard to build up the funds for, and he's safely off and having an amazing time now. And I was talking about it with my mum and remembered when I went traveling with my now husband about 3 years after I left uni, and they came out at the end of our year to meet us in Argentina. My mum and dad came with backpacks on. They left the airport coming towards us. They put their caps on backwards. They looked so funny and completely embarrassing, but we were also so pleased to see them, having not seen them for such a long time. But also they were just wanting to do it our way. I remember sitting in hostels. We stayed in hostels with them on the floor, playing cards, drinking wine. We went riding horses with gauchos, fishing on boats on these amazing crystal clear rivers, and they did everything we did. They were, I think I worked it out, about the same age as I am now, so early 50s. And they didn't hesitate. Their bodies let them do it because they wanted to be with us. And those were incredible memories. And traveling is something that's really important to me. It's something that I've been sharing with my boys as much as we can, particularly since the pandemic. And I encourage them to travel independently as well, because you get so much out of it. But you can't do that if your body is restricting you. And if you are nervous about whether your body will be capable of carrying you to places. So it's definitely one of my whys. And I want my body to be able to let me do the fun things when I get there, not just being able to get there. And then you can really experience it. So our future trips like that really do depend on the capability that we work on now. So I thought about what's the real question? What is it that's allowed them in their 50s to be traveling to meet us? But also they've just booked, they're in their early 80s and they've just booked a trip to go to Canada to travel around there. And what is it that is allowing them to do that? What have they built into their lives? And what do I see as really important things to be able to travel? Because traveling can really expose that capacity. So things like stairs, overhead lockers, long days walking around seeing things, or when there's no seats on a train, having to stand or obviously sit on the ground, and carrying your bags, that kind of thing. We can't rely on these things being done for us. And quite frankly, every time we do those things, we're building that capacity anyway. They really are skills for life, not just for traveling. So I thought today I would go through a few of the movements that I think are so important in daily life that help to build that travel body, but also that expansive mindset of I'm building now something that I'm going to be using and is going to bring benefit to my body on a daily basis, but that will also serve me for life because I keep training them. And this is not training them in a gym, in a regimented set of movements on short blocks a couple of times a week. This is how do I make sure that I'm doing this every day so it's absolutely natural to me, becomes easier over time if it's something I've not been doing, but I know is keeping me mobile and strong and capable, and therefore confident. The first one, which I'm pretty sure you can guess, is that getting up and down to the ground. It's much more useful if we can be able to do something like that, because not only is it a predictor of whether we can just do the thing of getting up and down, it also shows that we've got more general strength and capacity, because we are capable doing it. So there's the hostel floor, getting up and down to play cards because then there's nowhere else to be. And quite frankly, we can use our space and enjoy it. Then there are obviously cultural settings when we travel where we take off our shoes and go into a temple and people are down praying on the ground and we want to be at that level. Then there's traveling to be with grandchildren, for example. Your lovely children are hopefully kind enough to invite you to go traveling with them. And the grandchildren are wanting to play on the ground. For example, the best example being the beach. And you want to be there at their level playing with them. Or sitting when there's no chairs. Sometimes we need to sit on the ground. For example, you've got a long delay, perhaps in an airport, there's no seats left, and you need to be sat on the ground and you don't want to be uncomfortable there. Or just using it to sit down and have a great stretch after a long journey, which can leave us with lots of stiffness. So, how do we incorporate that now? If we think that we want to be capable of doing something, it needs to become habitual now. As you know, on my courses, I always start working from the ground up because it tends to be the missing ingredient and it can really, really benefit not just movement on the ground, but that movement then translates to better movement above ground level. So, sit on the floor to read. If you are someone who likes to read the paper or scroll and check the news on your phone, whatever the thing is you decide to do, or you're, as someone on my current course has said, they're doing their daily Wordle where they felt like it was something they wanted to do, but they weren't moving. This is a great way of sitting on the ground, making it active sitting whilst doing something that's improving your brain. And always switching positions, getting up and down, using your hands, even trying to not use your hands, using furniture if you have to, whatever version works for you. And in my Move Well wheel, that is the V in the acronym moving, vary levels. And it's so important that we bring this into life because then it improves our balance, our mobility, our strength, all of the things. The second thing is very clear for traveling, lifting and carrying load, because we need to take our stuff with us. We have suitcases or backpacks. We will always be having sort of extra bags, uneven loads. And that's all brilliant. If we're reliant on wheeled suitcases that we just gently push along, we're not again, training that capacity. So even though it's harder work, that harder work is a good thing for your body. You're not outsourcing that effort. You're building strength and mobility by making the effort. So to be able to do that when we travel, we need to be prepared to do that in our real life. So carrying shopping, going around a few different shops. When we carry the shopping, we have bags. We perhaps use one shoulder, switch to the other shoulder. We could have a backpack as well. We carry down in our hands. We just do lots of carrying, but we need to do that intentionally. Again, there's lots of times you go to the supermarket and you get a shallow trolley that you can gently push around. Or you could choose one or two baskets. That's you increasing that capacity and that capability. So see it as a win-win. Going around the boring supermarket, getting bits, but you are doing yourself and your body a favour for now and the future. And if you want to add in other moments, then moving things around the house. If you haven't got something you need to move, then actually create that. I talk about sometimes I've got a big heavy cat litter bag, happens to have handles on the top, which is quite useful. And I will sometimes take that up and down the stairs for no other reason than I'm wanting to bring in some variety of movement, but integrating load into what I do. And that integrate load, that's the I of the moving acronym. Again, always going back to the Move Well wheel, which is my 6-part framework that is in the book and that helps me to look at the elements in someone's life that need a boost to have better all-round movement. Another one is being strong on the stairs. Lots of people, I've talked about it many times, will obviously queue to wait to get the escalator. It's such a great idea to choose the stairs. Again, it's this conversation. Yes, it's more effort, but it's also more benefit. And when you can switch your brain to seeing that benefit, then at the top, you can say, I'm really glad I took that choice. I might be a bit out of puff, I have strengthened my body in a moment where lots of others haven't because they're stood on the escalators. And you don't have to do it every time. Life for me is absolutely 80-20. Sometimes you're just too exhausted, and that's totally fine. But when you're not, adding in that extra boost means that you will always be able to take the stairs. And there's so much good about going upstairs, but also going down, having that control going downstairs. And when we're traveling, if you go to somewhere like a hill town where there's lots of steep steps to get up to an incredible viewpoint, you want to be able to have that capacity, that capability, and to, again, feel great that you've managed to do that with grandchildren around you or children, whoever it is, even if you're on your own, just to feel proud that that's something that you can do. So I urge you to always keep the steps in your life. They are such a great free strength and fitness training tool. And finally, using your arms overhead. Most of our day we spent with our arms hanging down by our sides or bent and doing the thing out in front, whether it be typing, cooking, driving, all of the things. But none of those, apart from the arm swing of walking, which, yes, please let them swing, really important, lovely rotational part of the walking movement that's so key to counterbalance what's happening with the legs, as an aside. But we rarely take those arms up. And it's really important that to keep those lovely ball and socket joints free and moving, and having that movement available, that we use that in daily life. And this is one of the ones that we really have to add in intentionally. So if we want to lift something onto overhead lockers in the plane or in the train, if we want to be able to do that, we need the strength and mobility in the shoulders to be able to do that. So today's movement I'm going to take you through is called ladder climbing. And yes, this is not adding load, but you could add load to this as well. Some people in my classes will add a hand weight to do this. What I really want you to think about though is visualizing this ladder, and it's a rope ladder, so it's a bit wobbly, and we're going to climb up it by pulling down and lifting the other arm up. And we're going to move our legs at the same time to just tilt our balance to emulate the wobbliness of the ladder. Modern life does not lend itself to this. So for example, to make it more practical, always having something on an overhead shelf that's perhaps a little bit heavier that you use regularly is a great way to enforce that on a regular basis you are using your arms above your head and potentially adding load. Also putting clothing on a pulley or hanging out the washing, making sure that you are doing these things regularly to really use the shoulders. Let's get started. Today your feet are hip width and you're going to reach up with one hand, grab, you can't see my hand, I'm looking at it, grab the rung of the ladder. And instead of then just letting the arm pull down, we're going to pretend we're pulling our whole body weight up, and you're going to have this real feeling of intentional movement by pulling down with that arm. And you can feel the muscles in the side of your body engage if you really visualize this. So everything's activated so much more when you use your imagination, because the brain doesn't quite realize the difference between what's actually happening and what you're visualizing. So you get more benefit. Other arm up, grab and pull down. Okay, we're now going to add in the feet. So as you grab with the first hand, you're going to lift the same side heel up and pull down. Then we're going to swap to the other side. So the other heel has gone up, you're on the ball of the foot and you're pulling down. Now we're just doing this very slowly at the moment with lots of intention to really feel how that feels in the body when you really pretend that you're pulling your whole body weight up. But now we're going to get a little bit faster so that you're going from side to side with your feet. Pull down, lift the heel. I'm looking up at the sky. You see, I'm properly visualizing this ladder, and it's a wobbly ladder. So we've got to have control. Keep going. Stretch and reach as high as you can, reaching through the side of your body. And breathe and smile. Pull. And 3, 2, and 1. Shake it all out. and see, how does it feel? Does it feel different in your sides, in your shoulders? I hope that has made you feel a bit different, and just notice how important that kind of movement is in your day. Because we really need to do it, we need to choose it. Those lovely days we had in Argentina were amazing memories that we created together. And both my parents are lucky enough for me to still be here. But I want to keep creating those memories together. And when I think about my kids, these days, they're going to have to probably go where the work is. And that's not necessarily going to be nearby. But I'll want to visit them. And if they have kids, I'll want to be in their lives. So travel is going to be a really important part of my life, through necessity, perhaps, as well as for pleasure. So I think the key thing here is that I am training on a daily basis throughout my day for access to a life that I choose, not one that my body chooses for me. And future adventures are built in ordinary Tuesdays like today, and the body you need later is being quietly shaped now, because we don't stay capable by accident. So today I want to leave you with a question. Have a think. What are you rehearsing for today?